and we are ready for chapter 8. So up high in your concept book, in a box, chapter 8, measurements and planar figures. Today's first day for chapter 8, so this section is comparing and converting measurements. It begins on page 437. So we can compare and convert measurements. We use conversion factors. Can anybody think of a conversion factor? Heidi? Okay, there you go. Inches to centimeters. Yes. Grams to pounds. You guys are going between different systems when you say these things. Emery?
Kilometers and inches.
Okay, you went between systems again. Yes, Abby?
Feet and yards.
Feet and yards is within the same system. So when we do these, when we change from like feet to yards, we use a fraction that equals 1. It's a factor. So what operation are we using if it's a factor? Multiplication. We're multiplying by a fraction that equals 1, and the fraction has 2 different kinds of units. So we're going to create a list of different conversion factors in this box. You might be using some of them today. These conversion factors all equal 1, but the crazy thing is they have different kinds of units. So look here at the first factor. It is a fraction. We might use this fraction to change from inches to feet, okay? The bottom one tells you what we're changing from. So tell me, everybody think in your head, and don't say it yet, I'll count you down. How many inches are in a foot? Ready? 3, 2, and 1.
12.
Good. So there's a conversion factor. 1 foot over 12 inches. Does 1 foot equal 12 inches?
Yes.
Then this equals 1. Isn't that interesting? Conversion factors equal 1, but they look different. They have different numbers, which just makes it tricky, right? One yard. See if you can complete this conversion factor. 1 yard is how many feet? 3, 2, and 1.
3.
Good. Now we could flip this upside down. We could take the reciprocal and put 3 feet over.
1 yard.
Is that still equal to 1?
Yeah.
Yes, so conversion factors can be used either way, as is written, or they're reciprocal. They both equal 1. Okay? Finish this factor, if you can. 1 mile is how many feet? Thumbs up if you know this one. 3, 2, and 1.
5,280.
Good. 5280. Like imagine when you're here when you arrive to school in the morning, it is almost 5 to 8 in the morning. 5 to 80. 5,280 feet. Strange number. That's how many are in 1 mile. Our standard system of miles and feet and inches is tougher to use really than the metric system because we have all these interesting different kinds of numbers, like 5,280. Quarts in a gallon. 1 gallon has
4 quarts.
Good job. 4. And the word quart itself means a quarter, right? A quarter of something, a fourth. So that helps. 1 quart. Do you know how many pints are in a quart? 1 quart is? No. You're thinking, I think of something else. 2 pints. So imagine going to get a pint of heavy cream. That's usually what people have seen. They're like a jumbo milk carton, right? A quart is the skinny tall thing of milk. Skinny little square thing, right? We usually buy our milk in what size? Gallons, right? If you get those big square cartons, that's a half a gallon, 2 quarts. So those tall skinny ones are 1 quart, and one of them has 2 pints. Now think of weights. 1 pound, think about how many ounces that is. 1 pound is
16.
good. Another strange number. Metric system is all tens. This is different. 1 pound is 16 ounces. Do you know how many pounds are in 1 ton in our system? Elliot?
2.
Good job. How do you remember that?
I just remember that tons weigh a lot,
So 2,000. Okay, interesting. It's just one of those things you have to learn, right? And ounces. How many ounces are in 1 cup? No, it's, yes, 8 ounces in 1 cup. I don't have another factor here. 8 ounces in 1 cup. 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. How many cups are in 1 pint? You could add that one.
6. No.
8.
Actually, cups in 1 pint,
Oh.
there are
2.
2 cups in 1 pint. You could add that too. That might come up. So, to change from one unit to another, we use conversion factors. Okay, so each time you are asked to convert from one unit to another, we start with the question, 4 feet. We're changing it over here to inches, okay? So we spread it out because we're going to multiply 4 feet by a conversion factor that gives us inches. So when we multiply, we're going to multiply to a fraction, right? Conversion factors are fractions. And we are trying to get rid of feet. So where will the feet go in the conversion factor? Numerator or denominator? Right, we're going to put the feet down here. And what kind of units are we trying to get to?
Inches.
So where does that go in our factor? In the numerator. Okay? So we start by analyzing the units first. And then we go back and say, how do these two things, how are they related with numbers, right? Which one's bigger, inches or feet?
Feet.
So we'll go with 1 foot, and now complete the conversion factor. How many inches are in 1 foot?
12.
Good. You have everything now that you need. Okay? When we multiply across, what is the denominator of the 4 feet?
1.
So if you want, you can put that, right, just to be safe. When we multiply across the numerator and across the denominator, what type of units will be multiplicative inverses?
Feet.
Feet. We have feet over feet, don't we? So that was our goal. We're trying to get away from feet and become inches, okay? And now we simply multiply. 4 times 12 is?
48.
And the only units left are inches. Yay! Isn't that nice? But you have to keep your units with you, the words. It tells us how you're measuring, okay? Let's try it with this one, with feet. We're going from feet to miles. And again, if we are going fast, pause the video and start it when you're ready. We have 21,120 feet. We're trying to get to miles, so make room for your conversion factor, which is a fraction. What units are we trying to get rid of?
Feet.
So it goes where? In the numerator or denominator?
Denominator.
Good. And what units are we trying to get to?
Miles.
So it goes in the numerator. Okay. Which one's bigger, miles or feet?
Miles.
So we're going to go with 1 mile. Whichever one's bigger, we go with 1. Do you see? And now, how many feet are in a mile? Do you know?
5,280.
Good. More of you know now. Very good. What's the denominator for the original term?
1.
And when we multiply across the numerator and denominator, which units will be multiplicative inverses? Feet over feet equals 1. So they go away. And we end up with the units that we want. We want miles. Okay. When you multiply across, you have 21,120 over what? 5,280. And you have to just go and do that division. Do we have the right units?
Yes.
And when you do the division, what do you get? 4. And of course, you can go work that out slower if you need to. Okay. Our next question is, how many pints is 12 gallons? We're changing from gallons to pints. So see if you can set that up. mean, what did we just say we knew? But sometimes when we change from something to something, we have to take it through more than one factor. So, didn't we just say something about gallons and what? Quarts. Okay, so let's use that first. If we're going to use quarts and gallons, where does the gallons go in this factor? In the denominator. We're trying to get rid of gallons. We can go to quarts because we wrote that down already. Which is bigger, gallons or quarts?
Gallons.
So we put a 1 where the bigger one is. Big 1, right? And how many quarts are in a gallon?
4.
Quarts? 4. Okay? And if we multiply these two together, what units will go away? Gallons. Gallons over gallons. So we would end up with quarts. We need a second factor now to get rid of quarts. And I think we wrote that one down. So where will quarts go in the second factor? And what will we have in the numerator? Pints, right? Pints. And which one's bigger, quarts or pints? So 1 quart is 2 pints. When we multiply across now, which units will go away? Quarts over quarts. And there you go. We have 12 times 4, which is
48.
and 48 times 2 is, yay, 96 pints. That's a lot of pints. But that's a lot of gallons, isn't it? 12 gallons. Okay. Next one. See if you can take 5 gallons to pints. And pause the video, come back and check your answer. Okay, so we have a superstar, Alex, who noticed that these two factors become one factor. 8 pints in 1 gallon, right? So we can just use this new factor and we end up with how many pints? 40 pints. 5 gallons is 40 pints. Try this one. Yards to feet. We start with yards. So, Sophia, in our factor, what units will be in the denominator? And what units will be in the numerator? Good. And which one's bigger, yards or feet? So put 1 big yard there. And can you tell us how many feet are in the yard? Good job. And so when we multiply across the numerator and across the denominator, which units will go away? Yay. And we end up with
67.5.
feet, right? Feet. 67.5 feet. Good job. Good job on the math. 60 seconds equals what? These are just natural things you know. 60 minutes equals
1 hour.
24 hours is
1 day.
7 days is
1 week.
4 weeks is about,
A month.
and actually that's an interesting one because most months have more days than 28, right? Well, actually, what's the only month that has 28 days?
February.
So isn't this interesting? That's why they have the approximate symbol. When we say a month has 4 weeks, it's actually, most of them are a little more than 4 weeks when it comes to actual 7 days, okay? How about years? How many days in a year?
365.
And how many, what is it going to say next? Oh, how many weeks? 52 weeks. And how many months? 12 months. And how many years in a decade? And how many years in a century?
100.
And how many years in a millennium?
1,000.
Good job. So these are just things you know, right? How about metric staircase? When we make conversions within the metric system, we can use the metric staircase. And I know that you guys talked about it last year, right? And so say the phrase that you learned. King Henry
Died unusually drinking chocolate milk.
unusually. Okay. The common one is King Henry died Monday drinking chocolate milk.
Oh.
Okay. What we do is we create 7 steps. And each step, I'll do it again, is represented by a letter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. King Henry died Monday drinking chocolate milk. King stands for kilometer. H stands for hectometer, hectometer. D is decameter. M is meter. The second D is a decimeter. C is centimeter. And M is millimeter. We go from left to right on this staircase. And so, oh good, I can. And so let's try one. Let's try converting from 732 millimeters to hectometers. Okay? We usually put the additional m's on those down there. You could put an m on a kilometer as well. Anyway, when you go from one to the other, you start with the original number. So we can bring 732 above for just a second. We start at millimeters, right? That's what this was. So we start down here at millimeters. We're on that step. And we need to move to hectometers. And so let's move. And when we move each step, we're going to count it, right? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. We're at the 5th step. We went 5 places up. And if we look at this, did we move to the left or to the right? To the left. So we're going to take the decimal that's in the original number. Where is it? It's the end. And we're going to move it 5 places to the left. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for these empty places, what will we fill? 0. Good. And so we have 0.00732 hectometers. Or hectometers, depending on who you are. Anyway, they're really big. These are really big. They're almost a kilometer, right? And a millimeter is tiny. Let's see if I can put this on the video. Okay, I'm holding up the meter stick, the white meter stick, and the millimeters. Actually, this whole thing is a meter. You understand? Do you see these orange and white lines on the back? Each of them is, oh, before I get there, wait a minute. No, I can go there. Each of them is one of these, a decimeter. So how many of them are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, you understand? And in one of those, there are 10, guess what? Centimeters, the next step down. See the centimeters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right there. And in each centimeter, there's, guess how many millimeters? 10. 10. There's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. There's 10 centimeters in a decimeter. There's 10 of these decimeters in a meter. There's 10 of these meter sticks in a decameter. And that's about from this wall to that wall. A little longer than that. That's a decameter. And there's 10 of those in a hectometer. Imagine 10 classrooms, right? And then there's 10 of those groups of 10, so 100 classrooms in a kilometer. Everything is based on tens. That's the beauty of the metric system. It's really nice because of the 10, the base 10. You do not need to write this because you should know these, and we've already discussed these over here. This is just the U.S. system. We discussed 1 foot is 12 inches and so on, right? And over here, when the metric system, you can use a staircase, but 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, and 1 meter is 100 centimeters or 1,000 millimeters or 10 of those decimeters, which no one ever uses. I don't know why. And 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, which you can just use a staircase, so you don't need to write this down. The conversion between systems is what I give you. I give you this, and I just handed it out in class. If you're not in class, come and get a copy and tape it into your book. On the test, you will be given it, but it will look like this, and that's what yours looks like, right? So you may use that today. Okay, and you're ready to go. There you go.